ballpark. Now he's not going up against a pitcher-friendly offense, but he mixes it up. He gets the ball where he wants to for the most part, and he uses that fastball up in the zone. So what a place to pitch. If you can stay healthy, you can put up some numbers.
And a tough lineup that he'll face off with here in his Giants debut. The top run-scoring team in baseball last year, and it's all the same set of faces that they finished off last year. Grisham leads off, and then the MVP and Judge. Bellinger's back, so is Ben Rice after his breakout season. Stanton's off to a hot start. Jess Chisholm at second base. Jose Caballero at short. McMahon's at third, and Austin Wells does the catching. 7-0 Yankees on Wednesday. 3-0 yesterday. And off we go in the series finale as Tyler Mahle makes his Giants debut. His first pitch to Trent Grisham is outside, ball one. Grisham had a triple, knocked in 2 on opening day as he tries to validate what he did last year, well beyond anything he had ever done offensively. Given his first real chance in New York, doubled his career high home run total.
Yeah, that was pretty shocking if you ask most people thinking about where he was going to fit in. Not only did he fit in, but he hit 34 big flies. He does not chase much, which is part of what the Yankees need to do better.
Fouls this ball off, and it's 1-2. Tyler Mahle, 31 years old, out of Newport Beach, California. Most of his career spent with the Cincinnati Reds, but the last few years only 24 starts, going from Minnesota to Texas. Tommy John surgery, missed almost 2 full years. Was cruising last year before his shoulder started barking. He said he feels great. And there is precedent for a guy who's had success to then come here to San Francisco on a short-term contract and take off. You look at Kevin Gausman, really made a career out of his time here. And an old Reds teammate of Tyler Mahle, who we talked to about the process, and Anthony DeSclafani did the same a few years back. Splitter just misses, and the count goes full.
Oh, for those that are wondering how the ABS system is going to work, look for that to be later in the game, and that challenge system.
Lead back, stepping onto the track, and he's got room.
That is one of the reasons it's such a good ballpark to pitch in. You really can only get the ball down the lines depending on the wind factor, which isn't a normal wind day. You're going to have to hit line drives, and you're going to have to hit gaps in this ballpark.
Aaron Judge comes up. Speaking of hitting line drives, that's what he did for his first home run of the year. Pounded one down the left field line after a challenge, after a successful challenge. We've seen so many times through the years low strikes called on him. He said, I'm going to challenge that one. He got it overturned, and soon after broke the tie with a home run. What does he have in store next? Because it seems like every year he finds a way to level up.
Yeah, he really has. Now that he's shown he can stay relatively healthy, you see the combination of what he's able to do on a full season, the numbers, and of course those are the MVPs.
The ball, 1 strike on Judge. The home run that he hit yesterday, he's saying, geez, I was wondering when something good was going to happen, because he had the 4 strikeouts on opening day, and it started yesterday 0 for 3. On the ground to third, and Matt Chapman, always sure-handed, across the diamond, 2 away. 2 up and 2 down for Tyler Mahle, and here comes Cody Bellinger. Made an excellent first impression with the Yankees last year with 29 home runs, most that he'd hit since his MVP season in 2019, and what seemed like it had to happen eventually did. It was drawn out a bit, but signed the new 5-year contract. Drives the first one he sees towards right center field. Lee not going to get there. Neither will Bader. Extra bases for Bellinger. Has his mind on 3. And Bellinger's got a 2-out triple.
That is the biggest part of the ballpark, and that's where Triple's alley is. The ball seems to float in the air here with the wind. And if you're a center fielder slash right fielder, you got to cover a lot of that territory. And you can see right there, once it gets past Bader, it wasn't a relatively easy triple, but for most people, that's where triples go.
So Bellinger's at third. The inning kept alive for Ben Rice. Well, a year ago, not many people outside of New York had heard of, but he got his chance when Stanton was hurt and had a fantastic year.
Yeah, he really did. Taking a lot of pride of now playing first base, and a few times he'll play behind the plate as a catcher.
Down 0-2.
Let's see with 2 strikes here. A lot of the strikeouts for this young man come up above the strike zone.
Don't seem to see it. I mean, it's 92, but not hit it.
Yeah, and freedom that he has to throw that pitch comes out. The hitter sees it late.
Damas takes his time, chucks it over, inning over. Giants come to bat when you come back.
Good.
What a day for baseball here in San Francisco. One of the great scenes for the game. The Giants coming to bat. Here's the lineup. Has a different look already. Jung-Hoo Lee moved into the leadoff spot. Luis Arraez dropped down to hit 3. Rafael Devers, the cleanup man. Ramos had their lone hit yesterday. Adames looking for his first hit. You can say the same thing about each of the 4 guys at the bottom of this Giants order as they face off to Will Warren, and this is a guy who I know you like a lot, John.
Yeah, he did a great job last year and making all his starts. You see the numbers. I think he's going to get better. The ERA a little high, but that's just the progression of a young pitcher learning how to pitch. We're going to talk about the adjustment he made on the rubber.
Yeah, so all the talk is about him moving from the first base side to the third base side. Can that be a big difference maker?
I think it's a huge difference. You create leverage against the right-handed hitters primarily. And if you're a 4-seam fastball guy, which he is, he does throw the 2-seamer, that leverage and that angle is way better.
Lead is second. Jazz Chisholm for the first out.
And what that does is if you throw a 2-seam fastball that has lateral movement, you're better off being off the first base side because the angles that you create with that pitch are advantageous over there. It's just basic science. But any dominant right-handed pitcher who has a good breaking ball, slider, and has the angles that can take care of right-handed hitters, I always felt the third base side of the rubber was the best place to be.
Matt Chapman comes up here, first right-handed hitter that he gets to put this to test against. Drops a sinker down and in. His sweeper, which moves a bunch, got hit harder than any other sweeper slider in the majors last year. So that's the spot that he's really hoping to change.
Yeah, because the problem is when you're on the other side of the mound, you have to throw the ball at a different angle to get it to break the way you want to. Think about being at a right. Think about right now facing a right-handed hitter. If he was on the first base side of the rubber, he would have to throw his breaking ball into the right-hander to throw it for a strike and then start it off the plate. And the hitter can see that. So some pitchers move back and forth, which you don't like to do because sometimes that could be a tell of what pitch you're throwing. But I just like an athletic right-handed pitcher from the third base side of the rubber.
Warren's 26 years of age from Brandon, Mississippi. Got his chance last year when Garrett Cole went down and led all rookies, made 33 starts. Fires a 1-2 to Chapman. And a soft bouncing ball, not going to be an easy play. Rice has it, feeds Warren, he covers nicely. The no man's land there, but Rice over to grab it. 2 up and 2 down.
Well, the first week of a season is, you get a chance to practice this play a lot in spring training. The first week of the season, the narratives are magnified. This is the play that you try at half speed in spring training. It's a communication play. In other words, you better run your route and get to the ball and the angle as a pitcher. But I just love the first week every year. The same thing happens. People jump off the bandwagon. They jump on the bandwagon based on the first 2 games. And you could not get a worse 2-game start for San Francisco than what they've had.
Quite literally. 144 years of San Francisco Giants baseball back to their time in New York. They never have been shut out the first 2 games. And what does he have to be feeling? Tony Vitello already, all the doubters. Can you make the jump from college straight to the big leagues? And then all you have is these 2 games to look at. And it's easy for us to sit here and say, hey, long season, going to be fine. But got to imagine is not been sleeping real well so far.
No, especially after having, again, look, the spring training success is so different than this stadium. They're in Arizona, and they had great success offensively. But that doesn't translate necessarily to here because you get the ball to carry farther. You get some mixed results that could be good over there that won't be good here.
Luis Arraez, the 3-time batting champ. First season with San Francisco. Smokes one up the middle and has a base hit.
Well, what I love about this young man, he's such an outlier in our game. They're going to focus on his exit velocity not being very high. Matter of fact, bat speed is probably one of the lowest. But you know what he does? This. 2 strikes doesn't bother him. He gets hits. He leads the league in batting average, even though everyone wants to dumb that down and say it doesn't matter. And coming over here, he gets a chance to play his position now at second base.
Yeah, he played first base the last couple years in San Diego. Wanted a chance to play second again. It's part of why he took a shorter deal to come here. And Rafael Devers looks at a strike. Giants didn't do a ton to the roster in the offseason, but you got to remember the big move happened early. It happened midway through last year and shocked all of baseball when Buster Posey pulled off a trade for one of the top hitters in the game, and Devers fouls it back, and it's 0-2.
Yeah, and he did not really have a Devers-like year when he got here. So adjustments, shock of the trade. I think he's going to have a much better year, a more complete season. Of course, all the talk about first base, DH, third base, all the narratives that hopefully be put to bed. You can concentrate on hitting again.
0-2 to Devers is taken inside, and it's 1-2.
See, I'll tell you what, if that was later in the game, 5th, 6th inning, you would have seen a tap to the hat, a man on second, or something where a leverage situation would change by getting the call changed.
And most teams are saying leave it to the catchers for the defense.
Yep.
Pitchers get pretty emotional. Yeah.
Don't let a pitcher do it.
The Yankees are the most aggressive, challenging team in spring training. Aaron Boone said he's kind of made it his pet project to go ahead, let's test the whole system out through spring, and then he would have conversations individually after each challenge. Back-to-back 2-out hits for the Giants. Arraez and Devers setting the table here.
People at home might say, what's a 3's not a lot, and it's not. But think about that situation right there. It can change in a heartbeat if a call either gets you the 3 strikes or not 3 strikes, or it changes the frame of the at bat. And now we'll never know because Devers gets a base hit with 2 strikes.
Keeps the inning going for Elliot Ramos, where the Giants lone hit yesterday. Shutout on 3 hits on opening day, shutout on just that 1 hit yesterday. And now Ramos with a rise at second and Devers at first. Take strike 1 from Warren.
One thing early on, Warren is pounding the strike zone early, at least with runners in scoring position. San Francisco was not too bad in runners in scoring position last year. as a team, and they're going to have to be awfully good this year because they probably won't have a ton of power.
Ramos, somebody relative to the rest of the lineup that gives them some thump. Back-to-back 20 home run seasons. One-time top prospect. He's been everything. He was the top prospect, and then he was the failed prospect, but got another chance because of a bunch of injuries and turned himself into an all-star. Swings and misses behind 1-2.
Already 2 strike hits in this first inning, which is unlike Warren. 161 last year. And you know he's thinking about it. He's gotten 2 strikes the last 3 hitters and didn't get them, so he's going to have to put this guy away.
And one of the things Will has talked about wanting to be better at here in his second full year is not letting things snowball. When you get little paper cut with 2 outs like he has here. Because he, for the most part, was excellent. But then there were too many blow-up games. He had 5 games where he gave up 5 runs. 8 to the Blue Jays, 7 to the Dodgers, 6 to the Red Sox. And he falls asleep right here. Arise takes third on him.
Well, no harm, no foul if he gets the hitter out. You know, the last thing you want to do is make a mistake and throw this ball away when you get caught by surprise. That's a timing issue. And stepping off, making sure he doesn't make a late throw.
Arise sprinting off a third and saying, hey, that should be a balk. And now he's got 40,000 people joining him. 1-2 coming to Ramos. Giants trying to break through. Looking for their first run of the year. Looking for their first run under Tony Vitello.
The crowd's going to tell you everything you need to know about that.
Lays off the breaking pitch, and the count evens up.
Well, if nothing else, it made Mr. Warren throw a lot of pitches in this first inning when it was going to be a relatively quick inning with the 3rd hitter and 2 strikes.
Rise sprints his way a third of the way towards home, and then McMahon snuck in behind him, and he had a dive back. Ramos stays alive. A little cat and mouse game going on down there at third. Rise in a lot of ways a fun player to watch. Trying to bring some energy, not just Rise, but with Vitello, Harrison Bader, who they brought in. Things were flat here, sitting around 500 for far too long. Ramos trying to cash in.
Well, the other thing, you know, being excited and getting off to a good start, every hitter, every team wants to, and he felt like his swings against great pitching, by the way, got really, really big. And right here so far in this first inning, they haven't been a lot of big swings, which tells you why they can get hits and foul off pitches with 2 strikes.
21st pitch of the inning for Warren, the 8th to Ramos. Another 2-2. Another foul ball. Yeah, I mean, you'd be hard-pressed to find a more difficult first 2 games. Fried on opening day, Schlittler yesterday, who looked like he's just going to build off of what he did in that monster rookie season. First time in Yankees history they've had back-to-back shutouts to start the year. Warren tries again, and the count goes full. And it goes to 10 pitches on Elliot Ramos. Here it comes. Ramos swings and misses at the high fastball, and Warren gets out of it unscathed. Giants leaning on him, but still trying to break through. It'll be Giancarlo Stanton off to a wonderful start to lead things off when you come back.
Hi, what's your refund policy?
Today's telecast is sponsored by Progressive Insurance, a grand slam for your budget. A lot of the guys from these two teams involved in the World Baseball Classic saw Luis Arraez last inning. He was a champion with Team Venezuela. It's Stanton to start the second for the Yankees. He takes outside. Ball one from Tyler Mahle. And so far, so good for Stanton. Homered yesterday, 4 for 8 the first 2 games. Yeah,
if he could stay healthy, of course, when both him and Judge are healthy and doing their thing, it's tough to beat the Yankees.
You look at last year, and Stanton's 36 years old now, but when he was healthy last year after he missed the first half with the elbow issues, he had the best numbers that he's had as a Yankee.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, you look at his overall numbers, it's hard to imagine that he won't get well past 500 homers in his career.
454 yesterday. Past Jeff Bagwell, Vlad Guerrero, Carl Yastrzemski last year. All Hall of Famers. A pretty good Hall of Fame case himself with those home run totals. Debuted in 2010. Giancarlo Stanton now in his 17th year in the major leagues, and more than half of that with the Yankees. The payoff to him from Mahle is poked through the right side and a leadoff hit. Stanton above 500 in the opening weekend.
Well, if you want to see what a hitter's view, or basically a catcher's view, is going to be, you got 2 angles here. You got a fastball up. It's a swing and miss. Now look at this. This is a perfect view of what it looks like coming in and what it looks like going by.
Hitters just see it so well, that high fastball.
Yep.
And it's so hard to hit, especially one like Warren's that stays up there. Leadoff man aboard, Jazz Chisholm coming off his 30-30 season, which he says should have been 40-40. He's got a pretty good case for that, because he did 30-30 even though he missed a month and then didn't run it all over the last month and a half after he was hurt. And he says Johnny's going for 50-50 this year.
Yeah. Well, everybody's got to have a goal.
Good to aim high. But he said, I got everything you need to do that. And really, he does have that kind of talent, where Aaron Boone's compared him to Ken Griffey Jr. when it comes to just the freakishness of his baseball ability.
He's got thunder in the bat. He's definitely got lightning personality. I think he's trying to figure out at what speed he plays the game. Last year he said, I need to play at 70%, meaning you play too fast and too involved.
On Mahle, ball and 2 strikes. Reaches out, rolls it along first and foul. Some guys go to New York and wither. Some guys go to New York and thrive, and it seems like it is the right fit for that personality you're mentioning.
Yep. I think you got to have a certain mindset and not be deterred or listen to too many things, because it'll toss you back and forth pretty violently.
Stand at first to open the inning. Here's a 1-2 again. A misses high. Count evens up on Chisholm, who will be a free agent at the end of this year. So if he does go 50-50, be pretty darn good timing for that. Mahle brings him a 2-2. His look at it, as it just misses, and a challenge coming here from Bailey, who was the best challenging catcher during spring training. ABS powered by T-Mobile's network, and it's a good one. Strike 3.
We'll get a replay look at it from the home plate umpire. Sinker that all it's got to do is touch that line, that box.
Just a little kiss. March Madness going on. Our guy Raph. Jose Caballero. Oh, Bailey's thinking, do I do it again? Back-to-back challenges. Caballero will be the answer to the trivia question, who had the first challenge in Major League Baseball history? It was Jose Caballero, and he was wrong. Getting a chance to start it short to open the year with Anthony Volpe still working his way back from the shoulder surgery. They got Caballero at the deadline last year. Speedster, exciting player who's never really had a full opportunity. He's had parts of 3 years in the majors, but usually a bench player, role player. Chance to show what he's got here while Volpe works his way back. Caballero 49 stolen bases last year between Tampa Bay and the Yankees to lead the majors. Second straight year that he's done that. On a 2-1 from Malley. Watches strike 2.
Well, part of the narrative this year is going to be all eyes are going to be, and we talked about it, it's going to be on the manager. What kind of strategies, what kind of, do the players accept the philosophies that not only organizationally, but what the manager, which is totally different, because as soon as you hear college to pros without anything in between, you think, well, that's going to carry over into the pros, but not so fast. When you're a veteran player, you have to buy in and believe what you're hearing from leadership, and that's when teams thrive. And it starts in spring training. They bought in. The energy was really high, and they were doing a lot of good things. Now, over time, being able to adjust to 162 and what players are used to will be very interesting on his part.
Everybody comes out of spring training feeling good. Take me, though, truthfully, into a veteran's shoes in a major league clubhouse when a guy who's never been there walks in to lead you.
Well, they're going to question some decisions that either backfire. It's basically we're all that armchair quarterback. We all sit on the bench thinking we know what we would do. It's going to be about the routines that are expected and established. We saw early on today they did some fundamental drills. Now, I don't know how much longer that can go during the year, where guys might go, okay, we don't do that. It's a long season. Those are the kind of little things, but winning cures all. We talked about it. He knows it.
You know, it is a great starting place. Is we had our first chance to sit down with him today. He has it.
Yeah.
He has that presence that is going to get immediate attention, immediate, at least, respect in terms of, okay, you have my attention, and let's see what you got, just by walking in and the presence that he brings.
Yeah, you can see how he won the interview room, right? And now it's going to come down to the pieces that he has, or the pieces he has. It's not like they're so stocked in the minor leagues that if things go awry, they can just bring up guys and resources.
Caballero takes strike 3. A long battle, but back-to-back Ks for Malley. More on Vitello, down to Kenny.
Joe, one other thing worth pointing out about Vitello and the college game, it has never been closer to the major league level than it is right now. You see guys like Nick Kurtz and Paul Skeens dominate in college and then dominate in Major League Baseball quickly. And I thought it was interesting today hearing Vitello talk about how the analytics he was getting at Tennessee are not much different than the analytics he's getting right now with the San Francisco Giants. It's only the delivery methods that are slightly different than they were in Tennessee.
He said that SEC football money gets dispersed throughout the athletic department. One of the ways they took advantage of that was through a robust research and development department, analytics department. McMahon with 2 out. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I'll tell you one big difference. So you could play with a lot of energy in college. You can do a lot of things differently because you don't have quite as many games. Certainly that will play out here in the big leagues. When you don't score runs, it looks lethargic. It doesn't mean you are.
Roller to second, and after the leadoff base hit from Stanton, 1-2-3 from Malley. little wine, a little cheese, a little baseball on this Saturday afternoon. You can take home a piece of the game. You can bid on game used jerseys, baseballs, bases, and more at auctions.mlb.com. Willie Adames opens the second for the Giants and takes ball one from Warren. The Adames open, he's not ready to go through a repeat of how last year started. Yes, it ended with the first 30 home run season by a Giant since Bonds, but it was a miserable first couple of months after signing the big contract. And with his pop-up to Caballero at short, assuming he can find it in the sun, Adames is now 0 for 8 to open the year.
Well, the problem is when you've had a historic start to the season in a negative way, it just keeps adding to the narrative. They just start counting innings. There will be a run today. I'm going to predict that right now, but this crowd has been waiting to erupt offensively.
Bader looking for his first hit as a Giant. Tony Vitello, you talked about the success he had at Tennessee. 8 seasons there, 3 trips to the College World Series. They started last year 20-0, and through 2 games they outscored Hofstra 33-1. A little different first 2 games against the New York Yankees.
Well, can you imagine what's gone through his transformation in the last year of just building your resume, becoming one of the best coaches in college? When you get a call and you get this opportunity and you're like, you know what, why not? And then the why nots get challenged with this season, of course, and the success is going to be all about wins and losses.
One of the great things about it coming in is he's very self-aware about how unique this is and how the deck may be stacked against it. McMahon gets Bader. He was a walk-on at Missouri. Played a few seasons there and right away got into the coaching trade, following in his dad's footsteps. His dad had 6 state championships in baseball and soccer as a high school coach in Missouri. He went from TCU to Arkansas. He coached a bunch of guys that you've heard of these days. He's very close with Max Scherzer. And then on to Tennessee, where he turned around a dormant program there, took him to the top, and did it with an edge, did it with a style where Tennessee was kind of considered the villain of the SEC. And they don't want him to tone that down. Sure, a little bit, maybe package it a little bit differently as Patrick Bailey comes up here. But again, Buster Posey looking for a little more edge, a little more spark from his group. He said, Buster did, sports are severely lacking in ruffling feathers right now. So he didn't mind having a guy in Tony Vitello coming in who didn't mind doing a little feather ruffling in his time at Tennessee. 3-0 on Bailey. I know you're talking about a game against Auburn.
Yeah.
Tim Hudson.
Tim Hudson was a pitching coach in Auburn, and of course Tony was the manager, and there was a dig me home run for Tennessee that's as good as it gets, and the bat
for Auburn.
For Auburn, I'm sorry, for Auburn, and the bat got kind of flung towards Tony, and he just flung it back towards their side, and it looked worse than what it was. And I mean, there was yelling and intensity that went to the roof.
Bailey takes a 2-out walk. First one of the day issued by Warren. Then up comes Casey Schmidt. Schmidt's gotten to start at first base these first few games because Rafael Devers still nursing a tight hamstring, which he's been dealing with for the last month or so. So once he's ready to go, you have Devers in at first. A little high on Schmidt.
It's called high, but it's called high.
Challenges. Schmidt in his 4th year with the Giants. In and out of the lineup. He played a really impressive, important role last year when Matt Chapman was hurt. A stretch where he was their best hitter. Had a couple of those stretches in his young career. Former two-way guy at San Diego State. Ultimately a hitter, but as a freshman, he had a sub-1 ERA as the closer. Still the school record there.
I have a feeling that the greatest player ever, Ohtani, is going to open up a few more doors in that category over time.
And Michael Lorenzen's going to give it a shot again this year in Colorado. Going to play a little bit of outfield.
Why not? They could use every kind of help they can get. That was rough going last year. And there's some teams that need to kind of get going out of that basement.
Paul DePotesta taking over the Rockies. 1-2 way outside. Count evens 2-2.
See that pitch right there, when he learns to hold back and really stay closed on the third base side of the rubber because he's moved. See how this is a non-competitive pitch? It starts way away. And I think that's the thing, that when he goes to the next level of consistency and wipe out strikeouts, that pitch will be better.
Warren trying to make his case to hang on with everything they have coming in terms of starters. Cole and Rodon and Schmidt back half of the season. You have Luis Heel starting the season in AAA as a testament to how deep these Yankees are.
Yeah.
So Warren, yeah, 33 starts as a rookie last year, but probably still a sense of, I got to show I deserve a spot in this rotation with how many options they're going to have when healthy. Rotation has a chance to be one of the very best in baseball. Popped up behind first. I don't know if Rice has found it yet. He does now. Makes a basket catch. Very bright afternoon here in San Francisco. Still no score. 9-1-2 coming up for the Yankees. That means Aaron Judge on the other side of this break. New this year is MLB Plus. You can stream MLB Network 24/7 in the United States and select out-of-market games every week. Go to MLB.com/MLB Plus to subscribe today. Austin Wells, Dominican great Austin Wells, leading off this third, taking a ball. He's part of that great Dominican Republic club in the World Baseball Classic. His mom's side of the family, Dominican roots. And pops this one up. Boy, it seems like everybody's making these fielders test their glasses on this bright afternoon. One gone in the third.
Well, the shadows are going to be a little bit in play here if they're not already as the day goes on. That shadow's going to creep towards that mound, and that's the separation where hitters will tell you, light to dark, not fun.
Already tough enough to hit here. That's when lighting's fine. Grisham flied out his first time. know that the chance to pitch in this ballpark played into Mally's decision to come here. This one-year contract. He's a pretty heavy fly ball pitcher. And look, first batter of the game, Grisham hit it pretty darn hard, but a fly ball that died out in right field. I think he's probably saying, that's what I figured it might be like here. I don't mind that.
He's got the splitter working. That's what he's going to need against the left-handed hitters in the lineup for the Yankees.
It was right there. Missed away, ball 2. 5 of them in the Yankees lineup today. Again, Mally has been harder on those lefties than he has righties historically. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Swing and a miss on a perfectly placed fastball to that outside corner.
Get another view. See that ball just fade away and change the speeds.
Change of color too.
Yeah.
Disappears halfway home. Mally's 2-2 pitch. Got him. And Grisham immediately says, I think that was high. So he's challenging. As always, powered by T-Mobile's network. Yeah, he was right by plenty. Lives to see another pitch. 3-2. Mally turns and throws. Grisham turns on the ball and hammers it down the line. Foul. It'd be pretty close to a splash hit, but a foul ball. Ultimately earns the walk. So well-used challenge by Trent Grisham there to turn a strikeout into a walk. And a man aboard for Aaron Judge, who grounded out his first time. He's now 1 for 10 so far this season. The lone hit, a home run, but 6 strikeouts in there.
Yeah, and that orange one you see is actually, that was a swing and a miss that almost hit him. Maybe did hit him, and I think that's Aaron Judge has learned to close windows and doors of opportunities from the other pitchers. But it's all about the timing for him and the ability to stay off the low pitch, because you can imagine at his height, that's where pitchers need to go to get outs. Down below and chase.
Mally on 1-0. To the outside edge for a strike. 1-1.
You got to be careful when you adjust your helmet now, because it's like an auction.
That's
you raise
right.
your hand. Hey, you made a bid. No, I wasn't challenging. I was just adjusting my helmet.
I was saying the other day, it's a little bit like the punt returner trying to shade his eyes, and they get him for signaling the fair catch. Everything low. Takes it. Ahead 2-1. Aaron from about an hour and a half from here, Linden, California. Grew up one of those guys, not necessarily out in the kayak, but as a Giants fan. Copying Rich Aurelia's swing. 2-2. He's played 5 games here in his career. He's hit 4 home runs in those 5 games. A couple times he almost was a Giant. He was free agent in 2022. Strongly considered coming here to San Francisco. In the draft coming out of Fresno State, Giants had the 25th pick. Yankees had the 32nd pick. Giants took Christian Arroyo 25th. And Judge was there for the Yankees 7 picks later. Look, Giants weren't the only team to pass on him. There were concerns that he could make enough contact in the big leagues. Here's a payoff. Judge swings and misses. No contact here. Another strikeout in a series full of them to open Judge's season.
Well, you better enjoy him now, pitchers, because later when he gets that timing, it's not going to be as enjoyable. Splitter that really caught most of the plate. Dip below the bat.
I remember 2 years ago, a month into the season, was hitting $170 or something like that, and wound up by the end of the year being the MVP. Matter of time for Judge. Bellinger, who doubled his first time, grounds it foul.
This will be interesting for the contract that Bellinger signed. And if he's fixed a couple things mechanically, long term it'll work out. He had a good year, as you mentioned, last year, and he's going to enjoy hitting in that home ballpark. Who wouldn't?
A great fit. Left-handed hitter like him, the versatility he brings in the outfield. And the Yankees have needed that in recent years with Judge and Stanton. Want to keep them healthy. Bellinger can play anywhere out there, can play first base. Former MVP. On an 0-1 from Malley. Takes it low, ball and a strike. And he's definitely evolved through the years, hasn't he? There were times where it was a huge swing, but pretty short and simple these days.
Well, he needed to, because in this day and age with basic velocity at an all-time high and spin, it was just getting underneath and above the barrel with his style of hitting. They were going to expose him, and he's made some adjustments to kind of help that close that up a little bit. You have a tall hitter on top of the plate. You want to be able to pound him in and get him underneath the barrel, can get out in front to connect with that ball and beat him up. But if you don't get it in there, he can pull his hands through, and he can get a splash zone in this ballpark for sure.
He has back in his Dodger days. Reaches out, rolls it up the middle, past the dive and a rise. Bellinger 2 for 2, and the Yankees have him cornered with 2 out.
Now Stanton, it sure looks like when we get to see Stanton come up, Rice will be up first, but with the Yankees and their ability to put runners on, if they cut down their strikeouts on the season, then offensively they've got a chance to duplicate what they did last year or be better.
That's a team that won 94 games during the regular season. Yeah, ultimately, how did it finish? They got beat in the division series, but when you are deciding what to do with the roster moving ahead, you can't get blinded by what happened in a few days span in the postseason. This was the best team in the American League during the regular year, and it got better as the year went on. Rice fouls it off. So Brian Cashman looks at it and says, really, I know that it wasn't the finish we wanted, but I think we got the team that we want with a little tweak here and there with the guys they have coming back. Offense a chance to be just as good like you're talking about. Rotation massive upside with the guys coming back from injury. Some of the pitchers they have in AAA. 1-1 strike on Rice. And that offense, which got breakout performances from guys like Rice and Grisham, brings everybody back. The one big concern for the Yankees, the bullpen, but most bullpens are talking about that this time of year. That's the area of any team that tends to change the most as the year goes on. 2-1 on Rice. Yankees with a chance here in the third. Going for the early season sweep over the Giants. Grisham at third, Bellinger at first. Rice fouls it off, and it's 2-2. It's an area where Malley excelled with the Rangers last year. He's one of the best in the league with runners in scoring position. Two on, 2 out, and a 2-2 pitch. Rice corks one to deep right field. Lee's going back. He'll watch it hit off the wall. Grisham can jog home. Bellinger sprinting towards the plate. He will score standing up. 2-run double from Ben Rice. A 2-out burst from the Yankees has New York on the board first.
He saw one middle, and he was able to pull it down that line. I said the ball will travel down the line here, but everywhere else it kind of goes to die. And 2-out runs are so difficult when you've got a couple hitters and 2 strike counts.
So Ben Rice knocks in his first runs of the year. 2-0 Yankees. Here's Stanton. 5 out of 9 so far this year.
See, what I was getting ready to say was Stanton, if you don't pitch him in and get him off that fastball away that he can slap through the hole of no second base, that's what makes him tough. He'll pull the mistake in. And that one, you give him another one, he'll be able to do damage with that. But with 2 strikes, he's so strong in that short stride, he just slaps it to right field.
That's what he did his first time up. On this 1-1, swings through a fastball, 1-2. Walk from Grisham, single from Bellinger, double from Rice. Or now 1-2 pitch to Giancarlo Stanton. Taken for ball 2.
They have made him work. 30 pitches.
Now 2-2. It is hooked into left field. A base hit for Stanton. Ramos up with it. Here's the throw to the plate. Rice is out at home. Elliot Ramos, an outfield assist. But the Yankees with the game's first runs as Rice drives in 2. Ramos ensures that it stays right there. Middle 3. 2-0 New York.
Seen in him this year.
I think it's just he's a notch more mature. The strike throwing's been really good for the most part all spring. I feel like the stuff is even ticked up and a little crisper. He's made a little move on the mound, which I feel like helps the angle of some of his pitches. And you know, he's given up a couple two strike hits that they got and a 2-strike walk to Bailey there with 2 outs where he had a chance to have an easy inning. So you know, a little more efficient, but otherwise he's been really good.
Ben Rice, 2-run double last inning. Aaron, he is still a relatively young player in this league. What is his upside? How good can he be?
I mean, I've heard some crazy comparisons, but he can really hit, man. He's you know, he's hitting 4th in our lineup for a reason. Is because we know what a special bat he is, and you know, I think we got a taste of it last year. I think he's going to continue that, and more so hopefully this year.
Aaron, thanks a lot. Joe, back to you.
All right, Kenny, Jung-Hoo Lee starts this third with a double. What little traffic San Francisco has had in this series has come mostly with 2 outs. They're now 2 for 43 before 2 outs.
Yeah, they just need to get the taste out of their mouth and feel the cleat hit home plate, right? I mean, it just seems like you never prepare your season for when is our first run going to come. It's always a narrative that you're going to, we're going to score runs. That's not going to be a problem.
Matt Chapman, who has 3 walks so far this year, but is still looking for his first hit like Lee just collected. No. Ball 1. Here's one where you got to get him in. Got to get him in. Like,
yeah, you just, basically it comes down to just executing each at bat, putting quality at bats. I'll always tell you that everything will work itself out, right? If you have great at bats, good approach.
Ground ball towards the middle and through. Boy, it's time for a Gatorade bath, huh?
Yeah.
Jung-Hoo Lee's in to score. And in the 3rd inning of the 3rd game, the Giants have their first run.
Try to pull that ball. It's a ground ball to the left side. Go up the middle. And it's an RBI. First one of the year.
Hector Board's over there, the third base coach, saying, is this how you do it? Wave your arm around and send him. Giants on the board. Still nobody out here. Double from Lee, single from Chapman, and now a rise. A single his first time. Oh, 2. Polarizing player. And you see all the great things he does, the batting titles that he wins, but some metrics don't love him. And the one-dimensional nature of that, where there's still not a lot of slug, the defense isn't very good, the base run isn't very good. And then you compare it like with a guy at first base like Matt Chapman, low average, but defense awesome. There's pop, and grades out is very valuable. Down on strikes is a rise, which is a rare thing. 1 away in his 3rd. Kind of what do you look for? What do you value?
Well, to everyone who's sitting at home wondering why the Major League Baseball average is at a historic low, it's because you don't have enough of them. I mean, you're rarely going to see him strike out. So we just saw 1, and maybe he'll have 25 on the year. And I think there's value in having a guy like that in a lineup, especially if your lineup swings and misses too much. It gets exposed. And I get the analytical approach, but it can't be all in. It can't just have a one-style player. You got to have some flexibility, and that's what he provides.
I really like this Giants lineup. It sounds crazy. They've scored 1 run through 3 games, but I think there's balance in personalities to the hitters. You've got the bat-to-ball ability of Arise, and with Jung-Hoo Lee, they're 2 of the best contact guys in the league. You now have legitimate thump in Rafael Devers, Adames, a 30 home run season. Add some speed in Harrison Bader. And while everybody punches up at the Dodgers, it's wide open to be that second best team, especially in the West, but you can even make an argument across the National League to be the top threat to the Dodgers.
Yeah, the question is, what does this park do to the hitters, and then what happens when you go on the road, right? I mean, if you can win in this ballpark, and the mindset is if you're going to win in this ballpark, it has to be close games. You got to win with a bullpen. So I think that might be the separator. If they don't have the pieces in the bullpen that give them that consistency and winning close games, it'll have a negative effect on their season, obviously.
And how tough is that on a first-time Major League manager when your bullpen is your weakness?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the test.
Devers down, swinging. 2 out. Elliot Ramos, who struggled mightily defensively last year, they're hoping he gets a boost from moving to left with Bader here in center. Nice throw right here.
Yeah, right on the money. Maybe not the best slide.
Is that what that was?
Better slide might have been safe at home, but
Talk about hitters going into a mental funk. Ramos said it happened for him as a fielder last year. There was one particularly bad play midsummer. They were in Toronto and he sprinted in on a ball and it sailed over his head and it just looked terrible. And he said it scarred him, kind of snowballed mentally. Contributed to the worst defensive season of his career. He graded out as one of the worst left fielders in baseball last year. The addition of Bader in center trying to stabilize all that. Lee over to right field, ballpark where you kind of need two center fielders. How much ground there is to cover.
You sure do here. And it's really, when you think about it, it's not the distance behind you in right field, it's the distance to your right. So center fielder that can cover a lot of ground will really save pitchers a lot of runs and hits. So what you don't give up in homers, you're going to give up in extra bases if you don't have that good outfield.
Well, they've made Warren work. Already 58 pitches here in the third inning. Aaron Boone told us they're looking at about 85 pitches for him in his first start. Here he comes to Ramos with a 2-2. It's poked foul. Ramos as a hitter at his best when he's using the whole field. He's the only right-handed hitter ever to get a splash hit.
Oh, now that's doing something.
Take strike three. He challenges. He's going to challenge this strike three call. And he was right. Both sides rolling with these challenges today.
Crucial counts again are where they're going to be coming into play, and now an opportunity to keep the inning going.
Gives Chapman a chance at a head start over at first. Ramos another chance in the box instead of the strikeout. There goes Chapman. Here comes the pitch. And a fly ball sent down the right field line. Rice to give it a look. It's a souvenir, though.
You know, the other thing that'll come into play, which is not a small thing, but let's say that was done with one out. The amount of pitches that would be added to a starting pitcher in a scenario like even right now, he's going to throw at least 2 more pitches, right? If that translates into 10 to 15 pitches, then even if you're not successful in scoring runs with a challenge, you're actually successful in making that pitcher throw a lot of pitches.
You might get into the bullpen an inning earlier. Ground ball right side. Chisholm down to his knees to get it. Throws Ramos out and ends the inning. But the Giants have done it. They've broken through with their first run of the year. Matt Chapman knocks in Jung-Hoo Lee, who had started the inning with a double. A 2-1 ball game for the 4th in San Francisco. Matt Chapman helps the Giants exhale, getting their first run. Jazz Chisholm leads off the fourth for the Yankees, takes the ball from Tyler Mahle. We were talking with Tony Vitello about the energy they felt like they were coming out of spring training with, and he said probably a little bit too much. He talked to the team the day before the season, and he said, I probably got a little too fired up, had them ready to kind of storm the gates, but in his words, all right, this isn't football, this isn't UFC. We got to see what we can do to kind of ease the tension here and settle into the year.
Yeah, but I think he was trying to take something off his plate where it really isn't on his plate. When you don't score, you don't score. I don't care how fired up you get a team. I mean, it's about executing in this sport. And that's why over 162, you're going to see the ebb and flows, the winning streaks, the losing streaks. For the most part, with a tiny exception, every team's going to lose at least 3 in a row and win at least 3 in a row. That's generally what happens. It's what you do in between the third of a season. So 60 losses and 60 wins is guaranteed almost by everybody. What do you do with those 42 games that determines the champion?
The rookie Warman in the Giants bullpen. Yeah, I mean, you lose back-to-back games once a week. It's just that's all you have to go off of so far. Chisholm takes strike 3. Fastball to the bottom of the zone to get him. Second time he's been down on strikes today. Time for our first game break. Mike Hill in studio. What do you got, Mike?
Fellas, Mets trying to put the disappointment last season behind him. Off to a good start. Extras with the Pirates today, down 2-1, and it's the new Met, Luis Robert Jr. walking it off. 3-run shot in the 11th, his second career walk-off. So the NL team from New York, 2-0 to start this season. 4-2 to final today. Joe and John.
All right, Mike, after they chased Paul Skeens in the first inning on opening day, came to a walk-off win from one of the new guys today. Whole bunch of new faces for the Mets. Caballero swings and misses. Butterfly splitter right there, 0-2. Don't know how it's going to go, but it's not going to be boring.
No.
Steve Cohen and the Mets going for it. Much different approaches on the two clubs in town, with the Yankees bringing back 24 of the 26 players they had in the division series. The Mets overhauling things. Back-to-back Ks for Mahle to open the fourth. Freddie Peralta, they got themselves a new ace coming over from the Milwaukee Brewers. Devin Williams from the Yankees joins the Mets bullpen, and several all-stars added to that lineup. Are they the team to beat in the East, or is it still the Phillies?
Well, the Phillies lost more than they're going to give them credit for. I think the Mets, basically, it's still about their health and their rotation. They've never been able to keep their starting rotation healthy. If they're healthy, yes, 100% they're the team to beat. The Braves are going to have a much better year.
Fly ball to right field off of the bat of McMahon, and Lee will track it down to finish off the fourth. A shutdown inning for Tyler Mahle. A 2-1 game in San Francisco.
Back here at Oracle Park with new Giants manager Tony Vitello. Tony, scored your first run. You forced Will Warren to throw 62 pitches in 3 innings. What are you most encouraged by with your offense?
I think, the run was great because it occurred on 2 hits, all that good stuff. But I think the build-up to it was what helped us. A lot of the at-bats, even though they haven't shown up on the scoreboard, have been really competitive. And eventually, as a starting pitcher, 9 guys can take a chunk out of you, even if they don't get a hit.
We all know you're in the middle of a major career transition. What has been the biggest adjustment going from college to the majors?
I think I can't talk down to guys anymore. They're my age, or it feels like they're close to it. But in all honesty, I think there's just so many more people involved. There's more people in the stands. There's more people in the clubhouse. So it truly is a manager position, not just a head coach position. But the thing I like doing more than recruiting or managing is coaching. So just trying to fill in spots when I can and help these guys out.
Tony, thanks very much. Joe, back to you.
All right, Kenny, 120 years ago, the Red Sox hired the coach from the University of Illinois. His name was George Huff. It lasted 8 games, and then he went back to Illinois, kept coaching there. It'll last a lot longer than 8 games here for Tony Vitello. First ever to really do it beyond those 8 games from an answer to a trivia question in Huff. Adames pops his foul, leading off the 4th. And he's surrounded himself. Buster Posey has helped surround him with a lot of smart baseball minds with a lot of managing experience. His bench coach Jace Tingler has managing experience. Ron Washington's on his staff. Bruce Bochy and Dusty Baker, both special advisors of the organization that he's already taken advantage of. Popped into shallow right for Chisholm. And the first out of the 4th.
Well, can you imagine what comes out of the mouth of managers in spring training is either going to go a long way or give you no credibility. Can you imagine Colorado in spring training giving their team, we can win this division if, they're not going to believe it. You know your team when you leave spring training. You got to know what comes out of the transparency and the honesty and the conversations from your manager. Players just want you to be honest. And, it's a tough job to navigate all that information, but you have to assess your team and you have to know what you're good at and then be able to adjust just like players adjust.
Here's a 1-0 to Harrison Bader. Ground ball to third that sneaks by McMahon. Bader's got his first hit as a Giant.
Because I say this all the time, Joe, every guy that plays a game has played long enough knows their warts and their strengths when they leave spring training. And the goal is just don't expose your warts too early. Like if you can hide them, that's great. And then along the way, you'll shore those up. But if you're a bad defensive team leaving spring training, you're going to be a bad defensive team throughout the year. And so the same thing goes with what you're being communicated by your manager and the belief that you have in him.
Here's Bailey, swings and misses.
I'm sure Dave Roberts doesn't have to say a whole lot to his team being defending champs back to back. He just has to make sure that he pays attention to the intensity and that they don't go through the motions and that they don't hit their lulls. And he keeps them having the foot on their pedal.
Bouncing ball to first for Rice. He'll chuck it to second for 1. Caballero to a covering Warren for 2. Oh, Warren had to find that elusive first base bag. He did, and finishes off the inning. On to the 5th we go. The Yankees 2, the Giants 1.
they going? Beer run?
Ryan Baracki, who the Giants just added last week, made his Giants debut yesterday, 2/3 of an inning. Run right here in the Yankees order with 3 left-handed hitters out of the next 4. Starts with Austin Wells and misses 1-0.
Left-hander is going to throw that 2-seam fastball, but his slider is the pitch that's tough to hit. Also has a curveball and a changeup.
And Wells right there, 1 ball 1 strike. Wells 0 for 1 today. 2 hits and a walk on opening day. 0 for 5 since then. Leading off this 5th for the Yankees. Pitching's been outstanding for New York. The offense, though, now it's contrasted with the Giants doing almost nothing, but the Yankees offense, they've only scored in 2 innings the last 2 games. 6th inning yesterday, got all 3, and they got the 2 runs in the 3rd inning today. One-two from Baracki to Wells. Final line for Tyler Mahle in his Giants debut. The 2 runs on 5 hits over 4 innings, and gives him a chance.
Yeah, 80 pitches, which typically was not putting hitters away, and the Yankees battling.
Wells is down swinging. This is what Baracki was brought here for. Lefties hit 117 against him last year.
Well, he made a mistake with the previous slider, but he did not make a mistake with that one. And seeing coming out of that shadows and the tight spin and the break.
Turned 32 in a few days, Will Baracki, out of Illinois. Back to the top of the order here. Trent Grisham walked and scored on the double from Rice in the 3rd. Grisham was always good defender. Took a lot of walks, added the power to that equation last year. The Yankees betting that he can do it again. They look at the underlying data of how hard he was hitting the ball, the swing decisions, and they think that it's repeatable what he did last year. Bring him back on the 1-year contract. A 1-1 pitch. A little cue shot in front of the plate. Bailey's got it. 2 away.
Well, it's always great to be ready. You never know. This is a guy that wasn't going to play much, and all of a sudden he's been thrust into duty and he's delivered.
Judge here, wonder if he'll pitch to him. Yeah, another couple lefties in Bellinger and Rice after Judge. They do. Slider catches the outside corner. Judge 0 for 2 today, 1 of 11 so far this season. 0-1 from Baracki. Turns on it, sends it in the air to deep left field, and gone. So they go after Aaron Judge with a couple more left-handers behind him, and he makes them pay. Back-to-back days with a bomb for Judge, and it's 3-1 Yankees.
You're going to see where this pitch is, and that pitch up in the zone is dangerous, especially a left-hander facing Aaron Judge.
Strike on Bellinger. 2 hits, both home runs for Judge. Four years of 50 home runs for Aaron Judge. Nobody's ever had 5. Nobody's ever had 3 in a row. Will Thea and Ohtani have a chance to become the first to do that this year? Fourth on the list of lists, the Yankees home run leaderboard.
Fastball right on a tee. and a tee that is elevated because he's 6'8".
Bellinger gets under it. Chapman at third. Ends the fifth. They let Barucki face Judge, and he says, all right, put it on that tee. Watch what I do with it. Second home run the last 2 days in his return to the Bay Area. Yankees take the run back and lead it 3-1.
What's in your wallet?
He'll make it 5 home runs in 6 games in this ballpark in his career. Judge makes it 3-1 Yanks. To the bottom of the 5th we go. Joe Davis, John Smoltz, Ken Rosenthal. Will Warren stays in. 9-1-2 coming up for the Giants here. It's a ball on Casey Schmidt. It's going to be it here for Warren this 5th inning, you would assume. Aaron Boone told us 85 pitches. And there is action down in that Yankees pen. Inside, ball 2 on Schmidt. What have you thought of Warren in his season debut?
He's done a nice job. He's pulled a few sinkers from that. He's going to have to get used to that side of the rubber. I know he worked on it in spring training, but if he doesn't pull the sinker, which means he doesn't force it to move, and you see that every once in a while where he's trying to go away, he pulls it and it's a pitch that stays away. Where he's trying to get that ball to come back, then he'll throw his 4-seamer. Breaking ball, same thing, getting used to that angle and creating a sight level for him and a release point consistency. So I've always liked him. I think he's just going to keep getting better.
2-1 on Schmidt. You saw Hedrick ready to go for the Yanks. The lefties at the top of the order. Caballero with a build high hop. Good Schmidt. One gone in this 5th inning. Let's check back in with Ken Rosenthal.
Joe, people might be wondering how that move to the third base side of the river came about for Will Warren. Well, it stemmed from an end-of-season Zoom call with the Yankees pitching coaches and statistical analysts. Warren had pitched on the third base side, some at southeastern Louisiana, but he really drifted over to the first base side, and when the Yankees approached him about it, he said, you know what, I haven't even thought of that. In spring training, after he made the move, he talked to Aaron Judge, talked to Giancarlo Stanton, and they told him, hey, your stuff is a lot sharper from that side. Stay with it.
Those guys tell you that. They're a pretty good sign. Jung-Hoo Lee doubled and scored. The Giants' first run of the year. His first or his last time. He swings and misses at a sinker here. Three-1 ball game. The Yankees pitching, making sure that they have not trailed in this series. They've only given up 1 run. I guess chances are they're behind. He was freed on opening day, with Schlittler confirming that he is a force to be reckoned with. Gets ready to start his first full major league season. Now Warren today. Plenty more coming in the form of injured pitchers and depth down in AAA. If they're fully healthy, Carlos Rodon's like their fourth pitcher. You know, Cole, Schlittler, Fried, Rodon, take your pick with those guys. That's not even to talk about Warren or Schmidt, who's coming back, or Luis Heel.
Yeah, the interesting thing will be the progression of Cole and how quickly he returns back after Tommy John and gets that confidence that everything's healed up. He goes back to the dominant pitcher that he was.
Aaron Boone lit up today, didn't he, when we asked him about Cole?
Yeah. Well, the progression is you're going to look when you go down with Tommy John, they've got everything kind of laid out in the recovery process. But man, I just know, having gone through it at 7 months. Now it was a different category. I was older. I was trying to come back quicker. At 7 months, I could have guaranteed you I would have pitched in a big league game. But the problem is, I could have. It wouldn't have boded well. It wouldn't have gone well for me after that.
No, Cole's about a year out and touching 98, 99 in his early performances this spring. But trying to be smart about it and come back at the right time. Aaron Boone making the change here after Warren walks Jung-Hoo Lee. Into the bullpen he goes with a 3-1 lead in the fifth. At 2 Eastern with a green flag at 3:30 tomorrow on FS1. Giants have the tying run at the plate in the form of Matt Chapman, who fouls off Brent Hedrick's first pitch. Hedrick pitched the first game this season for the Yankees, pitched around a hit and a walk. Got him off waivers a couple years ago. It's been mostly AAA. Would make 17 appearances for the big club last year. Makes the opening day roster this time around.
Throw a high percentage of fastballs, and then he's going to use the slider. Basically a two-pitch pitcher with the occasional split finger.
Looking to continue what's been dominant relief work for the Yankees so far. Good lead over at first for Lee, not going anywhere, and Chapman fouls it off 1-2. Again, this is the phase of the team that has the most questions around it. Last year the pen was not good, worst pen that the Yankees have had in years, and no real meaningful additions to address that. The hope is that guys like Bird and like Doval, who they picked up midway through last year, are better this year. Chapman takes strike 3, 2 gone in the 5th. And man, Doval, early returns there. He's looking like the guy the Giants saw dominate here for years.
Yeah, they need him in that trade to play out a little better than it did last year.
There's Doval, who struck out the side yesterday. 2 outs for Luis Arraez. Turns his shoulder on a pitch inside, ball 1. Doval's best season with the Giants was 2023. What that has in common with this year is that was a WBC season. And so his buildup was a little more intentional in the offseason. Came to spring training ready to go. Arraez flies this ball to the right field corner where Aaron Judge patrols. He's got it. And 5 are in the books in San Francisco. The Yankees in front 3-1. These franchises linked for more than a century back to their days sharing the Polo Grounds in New York. Ben Rice leads off this inning, chops the first one that Matt Gage throws down first base line. 1 pitch, 1 out. Nice way to settle into a ball game for the San Francisco hurler, who makes an appearance for the 2nd day in a row.
Yeah, Gage, of course, you see those numbers with Detroit and San Francisco. Basically a 2-pitch pitcher, fastball, slider. And he has a good swing and miss fastball, which you don't see too often.
Forcing a strike on Stanton. And see how he'd be tough to time up. He goes through that delivery, and there's not too much, doesn't look like where you could start on. Wiggle, wiggle, and dances and throws.
I would be doing, with today's pitch clock, all kinds of variations to mess the timing of the hitter. And I think some pitchers do it well, and some pitchers still don't have the concept down, because we still see delays and penalties in the ball based on that clock right there.
Stanton's down on strikes, retired for the first time today. Old Giant Johnny Cueto would have had a field day with the pitch clock.
Yes, he would have. But he hides the ball real well, and of course, big frame, and you saw already a first fastball swung and miss.
Chisholm, who struck out both times today, both times looking against Malley.
You know, the crazy thing, when we talk about 30-30, 40-40, and 50-50.
The catcher is challenging the ball call.
That's a rare first pitch challenge.
Spidey vision. This is a skill that is going to allow certain catchers to differentiate themselves more with this new system. The ability to know when to challenge.
But that right there is going to be an indicator of why people better hope it never permanently comes into our game. Because you think hitting's tough now. Hitting would be impossible for the elite pitchers that can touch that line and touch the top. And, you know, I guess there's not really corners anymore as far as the way the box is shaped. But good thing we only have 3 challenges and it's relatively quick.
I think it's perfect.
Yeah.
No more, no less. You're going to keep the egregious ones from happening, but it doesn't become completely computerized. So it'll have the human element to it. Chisholm sends a fly ball to center field. Bader can't find it. Can anybody? Yeah. Luis Arraez going out over the shoulder to catch it and finish off an 8-pitch inning for Matt Gage. Hedrick stays in with the left-handed batting Rafael Devers to lead off this inning for the Giants. 3-1 Yankees. Devers 1 for 2 today. 2 out of 10 this season. Giants finally get their first run of the year with an RBI single from Matt Chapman in the 3rd. Not looking for their first win. Down 2, last of the 6th. 4, 5, and 6 coming up. Hedrick coming home. Devers swings and misses. Bird is ready in the Yanks pen. See if it's just one hitter here. Another wave and a miss. Strike 2.
If San Francisco is going to have the kind of year they're hoping to have, Devers has to be great. I mean, he has to be back to that elite drive-in runs, hit for average. A lot to put on him, but you'd mentioned how many different players the Giants tried to lure via free agency. Big time players, and missed on almost every one.
So Buster Posey said, to heck with it, we're going to trade for him. Devers last June came over. He was good, but he wasn't that level that you're talking about. He was not superstar level. And that's what they've been looking for a while. They've had solid offensive players, but just kind of pieces, platoon pieces through the years. The 21 team that went to the playoffs on a franchise record number of games. There were guys having career years up and down the lineup, but not too many guys that you could really latch onto and say, here's our stud.
Right. Yeah, that year they played Stratomatic baseball and it worked. It wasn't going to work long term.
Never stays alive.
They ruined they ruined the Dodgers' chances of winning the World Series that year by taking them to the full tilt at the end of the season, and then really that series where the Dodgers had to exhaust almost their entire pitching staff before they got to the Braves.
They went 5 games, didn't have anything left. They got to Atlanta. Braves went on to win it all that year. 2-2 on Devers, leading off the 6th. Reaches out, hooks one deep to right field. That's headed for the wall. Devers on his way for second with a leadoff double.
And by the way, if you're wondering if Aaron Judge has got his elbow back, he's got it back. We saw it full thing in the WBC with some electric throws. Even though he wasn't going to get him out at second, he threw a miss with the second.
Aaron started his throwing program right after the start, right after the end of last year, much earlier than usual. And seeing the effects of that. Bullpen continues to work.
More of what you really want at Wendy's.
For our first baseball night in America on this 2026 season, so glad you're with us. The Yankees and the Giants. New York looking for the sweep. 7-0 on opening day, 3-0 yesterday. Giants, though, coming. Leadoff double from Rafael Devers, who's done it to the Yankees a time or two. Blows a kiss out there, and Judge said, "Go faster, hurry up, you made it too close." Strike one on Ramos as Greg Bird, or Jake Bird, comes on to pitch. Tying run at the plate for the Giants here. Bird, somebody they traded for last year from Colorado, and it went south in a hurry. Finished the year at AAA. Didn't go a whole lot better there. Fresh start, though, in 26.
You see the arm angle, fastball, sinker, curveball, cutter, and at the very least, he wants to just hold this run to this inning to just 1 run, if not 0.
Ramos watches it miss inside. Ramos has the kind of power that could tie this game. He's eclipsed 20 home runs back-to-back seasons. Giants without a home run so far this year. Third to Ramos, 2-1. That's inside, ball 3. Thomas on deck with his 30 home run power. On a 3-1, Ramos hits it on the ground, left side and through. That ball had eyes to find its way to left field. First and third for the Giants and nobody out.
Well, if Devers knew the third baseman was going to go after that ball immediately, he could have taken off. But the rule of thumb is you do not go to third on a ball hit to your right until you can see it go through. Once this ball was hit on the ground, he had the hold. But once the third baseman started in that position, even if he were to field it, there was nothing he could do. Those are the angles and the reads you got to have as a base runner, and the difference between scoring runs and getting those secondary leads and right reads for the season.
Time run on. Go ahead run up. Willy Adames looking for his first hit of the year. Adames signed a record contract last year, biggest contract in Giants history. For a lot of the year, the ballpark, the expectations that come with that big contract, it was a struggle. He even says that I was losing hair. Just put on a strong face, said I was all right, but it was an arduous first season here. And an 0-1 from Bird. Adames fouls it off, strike 2. Said, look, my second year here, I don't have to try to impress anybody anymore. Oh, well, it's only 3 games. I'm starting to feel desperate to get that first knock at 0 for 9. Double from Devers, single from Ramos. Adames on 0-2 takes high. Bird's 1-2 pitch. Couldn't lay off. Chase is way outside. Strike 3, 1 away.
He had to break something across the plate, make it look like it was going to be a fastball, and then end up all over the plate. He could not stay back. Already committed right there. And then once he's committed, he's just trying to foul it off.
Bader was able to get the monkey off his back his last time. His first hit as a Giant. For his first run batted in now. Strike 1. The former Yankee, Harrison Bader, Bronxville native. The Yankees fan, and he got to play for his hometown club parts of the 22 and 23 season. 0-1 from Bird. Pokes it to second. Bader's got good speed. The Yankees hurried and turning 2 anyways. Out of the jam unscathed. Giants strand first and third, nobody out. Bird gets out of it. Vitello saying hang on. They're going to take a look and make sure. Wishful thinking though. The Yankees had to be quick and perfect. 4-6-3 double play onto the 7th. The fastest racing on earth continues tomorrow on Fox as they battle for a win at Barber. The road to the Indy 500 continues tomorrow, 1 Eastern on Fox. Here in San Francisco, the Yankees have a 3-1 lead. Keaton Winn comes on to pitch for the Giants. Jose Caballero to lead off for the Yanks at the bottom of the order.
That's a last name for a pitcher.
Sure beats Grant ball 4.
Yeah.
Ooh, oh my. Winn loses the first one up by the head of Caballero. Missed a lot of the last 2 seasons with injuries. Came back late last year. Scoreless inning to start his season on opening day. You want to be a hitter.
That is what they call chin music.
A couple Ks today for Caballero. Lifts a fly ball to shallow left field. It sends it Damas out. Ramos comes out and makes a running catch. The Giants out hitting the Yankees in this game 7-6, but the Yankees have the home run from Judge. Giants have had chances and not been able to cash in, and so a 3-1 lead for New York. Yankees looking for their first hit from the bottom of the order. The bottom 4 guys in the lineup 0 for 10. Man takes a first pitch splitter. Pick up at the deadline last year from the Colorado Rockies for his defense mostly, which is tremendous.
Yeah,
I think there's more in there with the bat.
I agree. I would just say that that's going to get better, especially in that ballpark. He didn't get a full season there for the most part. He'll get acclimated.
Kenny was telling us earlier how Warren felt like he had drifted to the first base side. Similar thing happened with McMahon last year, where he had drifted to one of the widest stances in the majors. His feet really spread apart. He said just bad habits over time. Identified that much the same way they did with Warren, some biomechanical data, and he's narrowed it down and says he feels a lot better.
It's the little things in baseball that the average fan has no idea that hitters or pitchers struggle with. It can be 1 inch off, which translates to a lot of bad things. When you think about how precise you have to be for the timing to hit a baseball, to time it up, to recognize whether it's a strike or not, and from the mound be able to be synced up, arm speed, everything out of the same slot. I just did my first ever really kind of fantasy camp, and trying to explain that to people, the light went off to them. They're like, oh man, this 60 feet's far. I said it is. And imagine trying to throw the ball where you want to at the velocity these guys are doing at this type of spin and era that we have never seen before.
I think that little inch of drift becomes a mile.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we got to see and guess where and what.
The hitter's saying, what do you mean that's far? You're right on top of me.
Especially if it's a big, tall pitcher like we've got. And I think, again, certain hitters have better eyesight, have better timing, hand-eye coordination. They're going to flourish. They're going to be
good stuff right there from Keaton Winn. Works a 1-2-3-7. We stretch in San Francisco with the Yankees in front by 2.
Hi, Elsa.
advance to the 7th. The MLB app has it covered all season long. Get personalized highlights and push notifications just for you. Download the MLB app, the #1 app for live baseball. Patrick Bailey starts the 7th for the Giants. Jake Bird stays on to pitch and misses away with his first one. The Giants have had at least one base runner in every inning in this game, but just the one run to show for it back in the 3rd. Ball 2. Bailey's 0 for 1. Bounced into a double play. He's also walked. One of the most valuable defensive players in baseball. Can he add a little more offense to it? There's been flashes. He had 6 home runs last year. 4 of them came in September. Included a walk-off grand slam against He also had a walk-off inside the park grand slam. On this 2-1 from Bird. Pops it way up there to shallow left field. Caballero's got it.
Well, there are 2 examples of 2 teams. When you replace a certain position, the expectation, like pitchers, since Buster Posey hadn't been much. Shortstop since Derek Jeter. You know, you got all these iconic players that are tough to replace. Someday someone's going to have to replace Aaron Judge. Good luck.
Yeah.
Right field.
The guy that had the immediate burden of replacing Posey was Joey Bart. Didn't work. He's no longer with the organization. At least you have the buffer there when you're Bailey. But that shadow looms. Even if he wasn't running the team. The expectations being great as a catcher in this organization. Schmidt, who's 0 for 2, takes a little bit inside. 1 ball, 1 strike, although Austin Wells says let's take a look.
The catcher is challenging the ball call.
He was right.
New York retains the challenge.
These catchers have both been good.
Well, we're going to have stats on who's the best before it's all said and done. You know, it's stats on everything. This guy was 26 out of 26.
Oh, 2 is swung on and missed, and so 1 pitch after the challenge put strike 2 on him. Bird finishes him off. That's going to do it for Bird at the top of the order coming up. You know who that is. There's only one guy that throws like that. Tim Hill ready to check in for the Yanks. Score big on authentic gear at MLBshop.com. Official jerseys and memorabilia. We've got the season covered. Scan the QR code or go to MLBshop.com, the official source for your favorite team gear. Tim Hill is on to face Jung-Hoo Lee at the top of the Giants order. A funky lefty. The guy you find when you look up funky lefty in the encyclopedia right here, Tim Hill.
Yeah, there's only one of them there. He's in a class by himself. The delivery and the angle that he throws, tough on lefties.
The Yankees bullpen that figures to be the biggest question mark to open the year. Nothing but answers so far. 8 2/3 and no runs on just 3 hits. Ooh. Wells looking for a knockout blow challenge.
I'm going to say no. Oh, he got it.
Catchers stay perfect. They're 6 for 6 together in this game. And for Tim Hill, good morning, good afternoon, and good night.
Mr. Clean.
The big left-hander Eric Miller is on to pitch the top of the 8th for San Francisco. Great year last year. Had a 1.50 ERA in his 36 games. 1-2-3 inning on opening day. Or actually yesterday. Season debut went 1-2-3. Top of the order that'll face off with here.
A little Robbie Ray look-alike pitcher here.
6'5", 270. This is a little low here. Ball 2. His 3rd season in the major leagues. From a 3.88 ERA as a rookie to the 1.50 last year. And there's Ray, who pitched well yesterday. Grisham slaps on the left field and has a leadoff hit. 3-1 Yankees here in the top of the 8th inning. As we welcome you inside, hope you're enjoying the start of the baseball season as much as we are. I know the WBC was so much fun to watch the excitement of that tournament and carry the momentum into the regular season. It's great.
Well, I'm carrying the momentum into a perfect scorecard. You know how hard that is for me. So the WBC helped. But what a venue, great stadium, and obviously high expectations for this Yankee team. And the verdict's still out, you know, for San Francisco. Lots going to be determined in these first 2 weeks.
Judge, who launched his 2nd homer on his last time up. Goes down the line, foul. Well, so far this season, it's pretty much been one or the other, strikeout or homer. He is 2 out of 12, 7 Ks, 2 home runs.
Yeah, he put a dent on that ambulance there in the left field, but I think for Aaron Judge, you won't see this too often. He's going to go through streaks, and there's going to be times where it looks like, okay, he's missing the barrel of the bat, but it won't be too often. I'm telling you, that's one thing that he's cleaned up. Yeah, that dent right there.
Oh, he really did.
Yeah.
That's on the ambulance for getting in the way. Oh, and 2. Here comes Miller. There goes Grisham. Throw from Bailey. Third base side, and a stolen base for Trent Grisham.
I don't see too many sidearm throws from catchers, but he had to get rid of it because of a huge jump. The pitcher had to get out of the way.
RBI chance for Judge. Grounds it foul. The throw you're talking about.
When you get this kind of a jump, the catcher's at the mercy of where the pitch is, and he's just got to get rid of it fast.
Grisham in scoring position. Yanks looking for insurance. Judge on 1-2 takes ball 2. Talking about him finding a way to get hits. Aaron Boone thought that was the biggest growth last year for him. Aaron said, I still didn't feel like he ever totally hit his stride. He looked up and he hit 331.
Yeah, it's a great year.
Highest average ever for a batting champ, or for a home run. I had that backwards. 53 home runs, the most ever for a batting champ. Either way, combo of average and power unmatched these days. Almost ever. He's worked it full. A big swing and a little roller. Bailey's there to get Judge.
And that will be the shortest distance ball that you see Aaron Judge hit all year.
A little swinging bunt from the captain. Unable to advance Grisham. Bellinger comes up with 1 away. Good day going for him. He's 2 for 3. He's had at least 1 hit in all 3 games so far. Feeling extra good, Cody said. Went gluten-free this offseason. So it's starting to put the gluten back in the diet a little bit, but it got trimmed up. And as good as he's felt in a long time to start this year. The Giants will have 2, 3, and 4 coming up in the bottom of the 8th inning. Not without their chances in this game. Last inning was the first time they went down in order. Miller's 2-0. High on Bellinger. That's a 4-pitch walk. Bellinger aboard for the 3rd time today. Up comes Ben Rice. And the big swing for the Yankees back in the 3rd. A 2-run double off of the wall. Really good season last year taking over for Stanton. And you don't have to dig too deep into the underlying numbers to find that he was even better than those baseline numbers showed. He hit the ball as well as anybody, as hard as anybody. The discipline numbers, swings at strikes, rarely chases.
Yeah, something the new hitting coach for San Francisco has tried to bring over, and why he was hired from Toronto, to get those competitive advantages. And they have this game score that they give each hitter, and it's basically if you lay off the pitch that everybody else is swinging at, you get graded in a positive way, and vice versa. And one of the things that they're trying to do, especially in this ballpark, even if the results are not great as far as the outcome of the hit, making those decisions at the plate is what they're trying to get their hitters to buy into, because that will translate over time in more success.
It's Hunter Mance, one of several former Missouri guys who have joined this Vitello-led staff. 2 on with 1 out. Yankees looking for insurance with Rice, taking a strike, 1-1. Former 12th round draft pick out of Dartmouth. He's ahead 2-1. Hit just $170, his first chance in the major leagues in 2024. Last year, 26 home runs. He was top 10 in slugging, even with bad luck. JT Brubaker's ready for the Giants. Improved his bat speed more than any hitter in baseball last year without sacrificing contact. Sometimes you'll see guys have that huge jump in bat speed, but then the swing and miss goes way up. He kept the bat to ball ability while swinging harder, swinging for more power. On this 2-2, he checks his swing, but he offered. Third base umpire Chad Fairchild says he went around. 2 gone.
He did.
Vitello will go to Brubaker to face off with Stanton. 3-1 game in the 8th. Stan's got a couple of ducks on the pond here with the Yankees already in front 3-1. First and second, 2 out, top of the 8th inning. He's 2 for 3 today. He's 6 out of 11 so far this year. First one from JT Brubaker. A little bit outside for ball 1. Brubaker had 2 scoreless innings on opening day. Released by the Yankees last year. Picked up by the Giants. Stanton flips a little pop up to first. Routine for Casey Schmidt, sending this game to the bottom of the 8th.
Car.
the San Francisco Giants looking for their first bit of magic this season. Down 3-1 to the last of the 8th inning. 2, 3, and 4 coming up. Matt Chapman's knocked in their lone run of this season with a single back in the 3rd. It's just 1 run the first 25 innings of the Tony Vitello era. Tim Hill stays in. There's strike 1. Got righty, lefty, lefty here after Chapman. Arise endeavors. One. Chapman has been one of the most valuable guys in the league in his time with the Giants. Now his 3rd year in San Francisco. Had 2 balls and 1 strike. MVP votes his first year. Won a Gold Glove last year. Missed a bunch of time with a broken hand, but Giants just not the same, and they don't have him. Bounce back to Hill, knocks it down, and throws him out. Up comes Arise. 1 out of 3 today.
It's early because when it gets in the middle of the season, you won't see that many swings and misses out of Arise or many strikeouts.
As one today at 21 all of last year. Fernando Cruz ready in the Yankees bullpen. If this were to get to the right-handed batting Ramos. Well, in an era where the league's hitting about 245, it's a 317 career hitter. Shoots one left side. Backhand Caballero. Long throw is wide and an infield hit. Put it in play and gets the tying run to the plate.
And see that discussion we had earlier. That's the difference. His exit velocity average on the year is going to be way lower than Aaron Judge, right? But his ability to put the ball in play like this results in a hit. It doesn't serve great metrics. And more times than not, we lean towards the 118, 115 off the bat, but we don't factor in that a guy strikes out 200 times doing that.
Well, here the table is set for Devers, who promptly rolls it to second. 4-6-3. Taylor-made double play that takes this game to the 9th. Tim Hill, ground ball machine, produces one right there.
100 years.
Aaron Boone's team is 3 outs away from a season-opening sweep over the Giants, 3-1. Out of the 9th inning. Boy, the American League East is going to be a gauntlet, and some new faces across the division. Dylan Cease in his Blue Jays debut today set a Jays record for a first start with the team. He struck out 12. Ranger Suarez yet to debut for the Red Sox. Sonny Gray struggled in his Boston debut. Pete Alonso got his first hit as an Oriole today. Ryan Walker's on the pitch, misses with his first one to Jazz Chisholm. The projection systems have all 5 teams in the East within 7 games of one another. All the different projection systems. That's the widest spread. It is anybody's.
Well, the Rays didn't get off to a great start.
No.
I know it. We talk about that, but they blew a couple games, and they did get their stadium home back, so that could be a good thing for them.
Blue Jays start their season back-to-back walk-off wins, and Andres Gimenez is hitting like 850. Can he sustain it? Count evens 2-2 on Chisholm. 0 for 3 today. Here's Walker's 2-2. High. Really tried to pull that down into the zone. Didn't get the call, though. Giants in the 9th inning. Ramos, Adames, and Bader due up. Fly down the left field line. Ramos is out of room. David Bednar loosening for the Yankees. Another payoff the Jazz. Another foul. Destroys his bat on a flare to right. Lee puts it away. 1 gone in the 9th. Kenny, that East is going to be a beast this year, isn't it?
It is, Joe. But one thing I like about the Yankees, one thing that's a little bit different about them this year is their depth. It's the pitchers who are on the IL, Cole and Rodon and Schmidt. It's also their minor league system, what they have there. 2 pitchers that are close to the majors, Carlos Agrange and Elmer Rodriguez. You've got 2 outfielders, Jason Dominguez and Spencer Jones, who are also close. Dominguez, of course, has been in the major leagues. And then even on the major league roster, J.C. Escara, the backup catcher. Aaron Boone believes he could be a top 10 catcher in this league if he was a #1 guy for another team. So there are all kinds of ways to go with this club, all kinds of options, and that is going to give them an edge in a year in which they were criticized by a lot of people for so-called running it back.
And I think that the criticism comes from forgetting that they won 94 games and were the best team in the league in the truth-telling portion of the schedule. And that is the regular season. So often you see teams overreact based on what happened in a 3 or 5 game span in the playoffs.
But their bullpen was gassed because of the injuries in their rotation. So, you know, I mean, you still got to be able to have a right formula for success no matter how good you look on paper.
Caballero hits a missile foul.
I mean, the Dodgers did it backwards, right? Through their injuries, they were able to get their starters ready at the end of the year, and then they rode them. And the postseason, they went deep almost every game. The Yankees did not have that luxury for the most part.
Caballero's down on strikes, 3rd time today.
That bat could have had a hairline fracture going up there, huh?
Loosen the top. Ball on McMahon. Bottom of the Yankees order without a base runner today.
You wonder why hitters, they don't do it as often anymore. They turn the bat upside down and put the handle tapping that plate, trying to hear if there's anything that vibrates.
McMahon towards the left field corner. Ramos is there. To the bottom of the ninth we go. The Yankees 3, the Giants 1. Ramos, Adames, and Bader coming up. David Bednar coming in looking for the save on Baseball Night in America.
Make it really Philly good.
The United Football League is back with a new season of pro football in the spring. UFL Week 2 kicks off with Fox UFL Friday. The reigning champion BC Defenders and the Columbus Aviators. It's Friday at 8 Eastern on Fox. To the bottom of the ninth inning we go. David Bednar, who got the save yesterday, is out there to try and get his second of the year.
Well, he had a lot of work in the WBC and fared well, got out of a lot of jams, and he's got a lot of swing and miss stuff.
Former all-star closer in Pittsburgh, went through it a bit in recent years, but seems to have rediscovered that early career stuff. For the Giants, Ramos, Adames, and Bader. That's 5, 6, and 7 on a day where they're out hitting the Yankees. A story, though, missed opportunities and a lack of power. Ramos 1 for 3. The ninth inning rally to avoid an 0-3 start to the Tony Vitello era. Just 1 run through 3 games. Yankees this close to a 3rd consecutive season where they begin with a sweep. Trying to chase that elusive 28th title. Bednar throws an 0-2. The 1-2 pitch. Ramos fouls it off. Giants would love to get him aboard with Adames coming up. All his power. 1 run for the Giants came in the 3rd on a Matt Chapman base hit. If they're unable to come up with a 9th inning comeback here, the one that'll really sting will be back in the 6th inning. They had 1st and 3rd, nobody out, couldn't score. Another 1-2 from Bednar is taken high. Count evens up. The 2-2 pitch. buckles his knees. Strike 3 on the outside corner.
The batter's challenging the strike call.
Ramos saying at this point, why not? And he's right. Here's an instance where ABS is awesome to have.
Yeah, especially in the 9th here. Changes the whole of bat, right? You're either walking back to the dugout or you got a 3-2 count trying to get the tying run up to the plate.
Inside ball 4, and he turns the challenge into a leadoff walk. Tying run coming up in the form of Willie Adames. Only 3 days into the season, but at 0 for 10, he's got to be squeezing that bat into sawdust by now.
I think he'd be aggressive early. It wasn't a competitive pitch, so.
The 1-0. In for a strike. We're down to 77. Willie Adames, first Giant to hit 30 home runs in a season since Barry Bonds. On this 1-1. Fouls it off, strike 2. Wells had a few foul tips off him today. Waiting all weekend for something to really go crazy about. All week, I guess. Season starting on Wednesday here. One-two pitch. Stays alive.
That's back-to-back on deck circle. Bader receiving the foul ball, catching it in his right hand. You don't see that very often. A rare day off on a Sunday. That's why you can throw your bullpen as many times early on, back to back. Kind of high pitch counts if you need it, because you got those days off and that day off on Sunday for the Yankees.
Here's the 2-2. Adames pulls a base hit to left field. First two reach in the 9th. Time run aboard, winning run coming up.
Well, this is where he got tough in the WBC at 2nd and 3rd. I believe against Canada with a chance to tie the game, and he didn't give in, and he did it again later. So 1st and 2nd, nobody out. He'll have to have that same mindset, knowing he can't afford now with the winning run at home plate.
Yeah, WBC, he made it look like he wasn't comfortable until it was like this. Harrison Bader is 1 for 3. Giants hoping Bader can build off of his finish last year. Traded to the Phillies at the deadline. Finished off what was the best offensive season of his career. Does have pop. 17 home runs last year. David Bednar has only given up 1 walk-off home run in his career. Swing and a miss at the high fastball. It was way up there again, and he's down 0-2.
wouldn't deviate right now. I mean, the thought would be to throw something breaking that he'd get to swing over the top of it after swinging at 2 high fastballs or 2 high pitches. I'd climb the ladder one more time. See that right there, and the reason that pitch wasn't even thought of was swinging. The variance was too big. I say it all the time, right? You got that gap of 4 feet between where the pitch was and where that next pitch was. So he was hoping he'd be so aggressive he'd swing at it when it came out of his hand, but of course he did.
See what he goes with 1-2. Down there again. Ball 2.
Yeah, the reason those 2 pitches right there, all that does is bring the hitter back now off of the 2 pitches he just swung at. He then gets to re-lock in with his eyes. So going up there at that 3rd pitch would have been I think the premier decision.
2-2 to Bader. Swing and a miss. Stuck with a splitter and struck him out. So 1 gone in the 9th inning. We mentioned David Bednar has given up 1 walk-off home run in his career. The guy coming to the plate here is the one that hit it. Patrick Bailey, April of 2024. Doesn't have too many home runs in his career, but it seems like anytime he hits one, it comes either in a walk-off situation or in a historic way. He's up right here on a day where he's 0 for 2, in a season where he's 0 for 8. Pinch runner over at first base is Oliva, who can fly, representing the tying run. Bednar to Bailey. Swings over it. Started him with a curve. Here's David Bednar again. The wall is closing in. Finding a way. Almost at second. Oliva at first, the tying run. Ground ball to second for Chisholm. He'll go to second for 1. Caballero to first. Double play and a Yankee sweep. It had been the story all day, and it's the story of the last page. Missed opportunities for the Giants. The Yankees, with dominant pitching, giving up just 1 run in 3 games, have swept the Giants to start the year.
Yeah, a little bit better, a lot better for the Giants, getting a bunch of traffic on the bases, but just couldn't get that big hit. And that's 4 double plays. That is a rarity in a game. You see the pitch down, he swings at it down in a double play to end the game.
So the Yankees with another home run from Aaron Judge in another well-pitched game, 3-1 the final score.